Hey guys, it's Chloe, and today I'm here with a brand new video. My outfit is trying to channel lazy winter days, but outside Florida is trying to tell me, no bitch, it's gonna be 82 today. Today I'm here with my November wrap-up. I completed 12 books in the month of November, but I could still finish something else because there is a readathon that is starting on November 30th. And I'm also currently reading some stuff, and I'm in the middle of another readathon, so a lot of things could still happen. We're just gonna go ahead and jump in and talk about the 12 books, because this is probably gonna be a little bit of a longer video, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first two books I completed were An Author's Odyssey and Worlds Collide by Chris Colfer. These are the final two books in the Land of Stories series. This series has been a long road coming because, if I'm being honest, I read the first book way back in 2013, reread it a couple of years later, and then in 2020, I finished the whole rest of the series. These kind of were both just continuations, like one right after the other. So this kind of picks up right after the fourth, this picks up right after the fifth, and they all just, the last three books just flow right together. I gave both of these 4 stars. I was a little confused with the ending of Worlds Collide though, because there is the prologue and the epilogue link, but the epilogue kind of confused me a little bit in the end. Chris Colfer does have a new series out called, it's like A Twist of Magic, I believe is what it's called. And it is connected to this series. I don't know if it's just the same universe, but hopefully, I'm hoping I'll get some answers in there because the epilogue was very confusing to me. Moving on, the next book I completed was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This was something that I had started in October, that was on my October TBR, and I was finishing in November. This took a really long time to finish because I wasn't feeling this one like I was with Six of Crows. This one had a large chunk in the middle where it was very boring. In fact, I had a whole video planned around this book because this is the highest rated book on my TBR. So I was going to do another reading the highest rated book video, but I was so bored by this book that I canceled the video. I filmed 2 clips and canceled it. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I'm still happy that I finished the duology. I'm still gonna read King of Scars, but oh boy, this was it took a long time. Next, I read Undercover Bromance by Lyssa Kay Adams. This was an audiobook that I picked up, and it is the sequel to the Bromance Book Club. This book follows Mac and Lydia, who are both introduced in the first book, and I have to say I was not excited about reading a Mac-centric book because he was kind of a douche in the first one, but I have to say I ended up really loving it. Okay, I don't know where my brain was, but her name is not Lydia, her name is Liv. I don't know where my brain was. The point is, these two characters have such amazing chemistry. It is hate to love, and it is glorious. I gave it 5 stars. Next, I reread New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I did do a whole video around this book where I attempted to critically reread it. It was kind of a fail. I'll link that video down below for you guys to go check out, and you guys can hear all my thoughts from there. Next, I read Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali. This was my Bookopoly pick for the month of November. I did listen to the audiobook, and what I don't think a lot of people know about this is that there is a trigger warning for rape in this book, because I was not expecting there to be such heavy topics in this book, and it was kind of surprising. I think the Muslim representation is good, the discussion about the hijab is very good, but the rape took me by surprise a little bit, and other than that, the writing style, I don't know if it was for me or if it's just this book. Our main character has a very young voice. I think she's 15 going on 16, I want to say. I'm not sure. It was a very young voice. I think the audiobook might have also contributed to that, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. The next book I read was Makeup Breakup by Lily Menon, aka Sanja Menon. This is her first adult romance. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to St. Martin's Press for sending me this physical ARC for a review. I'd also like to thank the publisher for originally sending me an e-ARC via NetGalley because we weren't sure if these were going to be out in time due to the pandemic. So this book comes out in February 21st to be exact, and I highly recommend you pick it up. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I did write a small little review on Goodreads, so I will link that in the description below. But this was such a good read. The reason I gave it 4.5 stars is because I wish the ending was just a little more extended. I think just an extra chapter or even an epilogue could have done wonders for this book, because the resolution is happening in the final 10 pages of the book, and I don't feel we got enough of an ending that I really wanted. I'm also hoping that in the future we'll get to see more of June, who is the side character in this book, and I want to know more about her story. No spoilers for what happens in the book, but I want to know more about her. Next, I read The Curvy Tree by Chris Colfer. This is a children's book that is inside of the Land of Stories series that was also published as an actual children's book. And I just want to read all the side stories that are surrounding this series. Again, hoping for some closure. We'll see. Next, I listened to another audiobook, and that was Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. This is the only book by Julie Murphy that I have not read, and I did want to read this for the Clear Your Shit readathon, because one of the quests is a book with a water theme or blue. This is both. I have some mixed feelings surrounding this book, and that's because it felt very different from other things that Julie Murphy has written before, which yes, that does, it separates her characters from one another, but it felt so different. I also think that a lot of things are packed into this one book, because it does go from, I believe, June or July of summer into May or June of the next year, and there is so much stuff packed into this book. I ended up giving it 3 stars. There were parts where I really enjoyed it. There were parts where I was neutral on it. I thought the story was interesting enough for me to want to keep reading, but in the end I thought it was just okay. I think there are other things by Julie Murphy that I enjoy more than this, but I'm still glad that I got to read this book. The next book I read, I went back to a guilty pleasure read that has no plot. You guys have seen it already. It's Grey by E.L. James. This is 50 Shades of Grey told from Christian's perspective. And oh my god, there are so many things that I didn't need to know. I think it's because I read Midnight Sun not that long ago. But oh my god, I am totally seeing all the parallels between 50 Shades and Twilight, because if you guys don't know, but I'm sure the whole fucking world knows, is that 50 Shades of Grey started off as Twilight fanfiction, and wow, am I seeing all of those parallels. It's been a hot minute since I read 50 Shades, but let's just say I read this book, and that's it. I read it. I have Darker over there. I have the second one. And I'm also going to read that one. I just felt like picking it up, so I picked it up. And that's really all I have to say about it, because there's too many Twilight comparisons I could make right now. Next, I picked up Wolves and Daggers by Melanie Karsak. This took way too long for me to read. This is 105 pages, and it took me 3 days to read it. I kept getting distracted. It happens. So, yeah, yeah. This is a steampunk retelling of Red Riding Hood. You may have seen me talk about Melanie Karsak's steampunk Alice in Wonderland book last month. I figured it out, because this is the first in a 6-book steampunk Red Riding Hood series, whereas Curious and Curiouser, which is the Alice in Wonderland one, and her other steampunk books are set in the same universe, but they're not a series. They're all independently standalones. You may see some character crossover, but they're all just really set in the same universe. There was characters from Curiouser and Curiouser that end up in this book, and I'm sure there's going to be other parallels in the other books. I am reading another one of them right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I'm sure there's going to be more crossover. This was another one that I was entertained enough, and it just ended up being okay. I'm hoping that I'll enjoy the other steampunk retellings. I'm a huge retellings fan, so it might be because I don't read enough steampunk. I don't know. But I gave this 3 stars. I think I'm going to continue on with the series. I don't have any of the others in the series, but I think I might continue on. The last book that I completed in November was The Proudest Blue by Ibtihaj Muhammad with S.K. Ali. Working in a library, I have seen this book go out so many times, so I wanted to see what it was about. This is about a sister duo, a younger sister and an older sister, and the older sister is doing her first day wearing a hijab. And this book is told from the younger sister's perspective about how she is so proud that her sister is wearing a blue hijab, and it's like the ocean, and she can't wait for her first day to wear a hijab. I don't normally rate children's books, but this one I had to give 5 stars because it sends such a fantastic message to children, and I loved this book. If you get the chance to pick up this book, read it. It's like 30 pages long. Definitely check it out. I understand why it's going out continuously now at the library, and it was great. So really quick, we're going to talk about a couple of things that I am currently reading and the readathons that I am currently doing. So happening right now is the Disney Read-Along Nightmare Before Christmas edition. So for that, right now I am reading Ice and Embers by Melanie Karsak. I'm about halfway through, and I'm hoping to read another chunk tonight and tomorrow, so hopefully I can get this done. And then I'm listening to Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is not for the readathon, this is just my audiobook right now, and it fulfills a quest for Clear Your Shit. So these are the 2 books I'm currently reading. And then earlier I mentioned that on November 30th, another readathon is starting, which is 'Tis the Season-a-thon, which I have 2 other books that I'm reading. I don't anticipate getting anything done on November 30th, but if I finish either of these or the other book that I have for Disney Read Along, check the description below. That's where I put anything that I finished after filming and my star rating for it. If everything goes to plan, I'm gonna finish Ice and Embers and another book. Like start and finish another book, which sounds ridiculous to me. So guys, that is all I have for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been reading so much and I'm so happy with it, and I'm getting my physical TBR down, my Goodreads goal is skyrocketing, and I'm just having a great time. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you like what you see here, please go ahead and click subscribe. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so click subscribe so you can be updated for when I post those. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye! In the darkness, I don't feel so cold. The answers fall like rain, and somehow we're okay. My story drifts between shadows and smoke.